So first and foremost, everybody knows me. It's a West African tradition that before you address a group of people, you ask an elder for permission to speak. So I've asked Don, Representative Runick, if I can proceed. Thank you, sir. So, short story. I came to this building for the first time when I was 9 years old. It was January 1989. And it was a great building, nice, beautiful places and everything like that. But since that point, I've been running away from being an elected official. People have always asked me because of my familial ties, when are you going to run? When are you going to run? When are you going to do it? And I would always say, never. Nobody wants to do that. But as the story goes, one day I was running away from it. I tripped and fell and it caught me. So here I am. So I want to thank, I won't call him by his nickname because he's a man now, Kaylin and Jimmy and Jody for all participating in this process. I'm asking for your support for Assembly Assistant Leader. First and foremost, because we have to have a conversation about inside and outside the building. And we know that both are important. However, we have to understand the relationship between the two. What happens inside of this building fuels what happens on the outside of this building. We're not Republicans. We don't take the outside of the building stuff and let that fuel what happens on the inside of this building. No matter what anyone thinks are important, everything is important. We have to have an everybody eats perspective when we actually are making our principles and having our conversations and doing everything that we need to do as Democrats. It's all about the 4 R's. One is recruiting and retaining candidates. We know that that's important so that we can get more than the 38 people that we have here. But also we need to be recruiting and retaining on issues. The same traveling that we do to get candidates, to retain candidates, we need to be doing that to talk about the principles that are important in these different areas in our state so that candidates can emerge from those conversations that we have. As an organizer who actually went to Caucus for the first time to talk about substance use disorder with young people. It was a great conversation, and I found out there was so much that united us and less that divided us. We also need to talk about raising interest and money. However, we know it's about raising money, but we got to raise interest too. We got to have some kind of buzz. Those Democrats in that Assembly caucus know what they're doing. They're doing something that will bring on our donors that we typically deal with, and then newer ones as well. But we got to raise the interest. We got to have people interested in what's happening, even those who are typically not interested in politics and what we do. We also have to have relatability with people. We know that we can take 5 different turns on what we do when we're trying to come to a conclusion. We'll go through these mental gymnastics about coming to a conclusion. Well, we got to go left. Then we go right, then we go down the stairs, then up the stairs, around the corner, then we get to the conclusion. That's how politics works sometimes. But people don't do that in their everyday lives. They go from A to B. So we have to be able to relate to people in this world and those who are not of this world, and not just the folks who are paying a little bit extra money to see us on which side right now, who are subscribing to West Politics, who are the political junkies and watch CNN for sport. We got to talk about the everyday people who are doing this job, doing their jobs, and hopefully that we're doing our jobs on their behalf. And lastly, it's about realizing our goal of getting to the majority again. If you're in the minority, your one goal is to get back into the majority. And so how do we do that? There's a process that we go by doing that. And we have to stick to that process in getting back to the majority. It's not just, we want to do that. It's about the way in which we do it. Like I said before, we have to have an everybody eats perspective. We have to talk about what our plan is. We have to have proper messaging. And one of the reasons that I'm running right now is because I want to deal with our messaging and making sure that we're talking about, racism as a public health crisis throughout the state. We're talking about climate justice, housing justice, and jobs justice. That we're talking about our international relations and how we deal with brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa and everywhere else on the planet. And also, we have to make sure we are bridging our rural-urban divide, because there is no way that some rich white guy from Oconomowoc who lives on a lake should tell some poor person in a rural area, poor white person in a rural area, that those black and brown folks in Milwaukee are the reason that you're in the condition you're in right now. And then make that person vote for them against their interests based upon that ideology. We need to show individuals in the Caucus, Ashwaubenans, in the North Woods and other places, they have just as much in common with those folks on the south side of Milwaukee, in the north side of Milwaukee, and different places like that. We got to bridge that rural-urban divide, because that's what's going to get us back to the majority. That's what's going to help us win statewide, and that is why you should vote for me for assistant leader. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate Jonathan Brostoff for nominating me as well. I didn't forget, Joe, bro. So thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
And next, I will recognize Representative Anderson.